Daniel Corey coming at you from DangerKatts Central, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 8 of Makers, where I speak with artists who make and shape culture. I'd like to introduce this week's guests, musicians, songwriters, multi-instrumentalists, Alexx Calise and Dennis Morehouse, aka Batfarm. Hey, Batfarm.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming on, you guys. It's so good to see your faces. So just a little about Batfarm from the website bio. Alexx Calise is an introspective lyricist and a harmony machine. And Dennis Morehouse is a masterful arranger and sound manipulator. Sorry.
I know.
The two-piece alternative rock band whose sound can be best described as darkadelic. Music has always been the constant and the bond for this powerful duo, and you can see their love for each other and their undeniable chemistry on stage and in person. The two share joint custody of their cat Bingo, who I think is behind the curtain still right now, who is often the subject of their promos, posters, videos. Batfarm have released their first EP in the Belfry with longtime friend Ultimate Studios Charlie Waymeyer, combining Alexx's grunge and blues influences with rich choral landscapes and Dennis's love of industrial funk and psychedelic music. Batfarm creates a sound that is unlike anything and everything all at once. So without any further ado, right down the street from me in sunny Los Angeles, Batfarm. Hey there.
How's it going, man?
All right. Full disclosure, everybody, I'm really good friends with Alexx and Dennis, and so you might have sensed me poking fun at them a little bit. When I did the air quotes with Dennis being masterful, I didn't mean it. That was sarcasm.
I think that you would do that anyways.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm probably going to be asking you questions that I know the answer to, but it's all for the show. It's all for the show. So yeah, there you go. All right. So how are you guys feeling today? How are you doing? What's going on just generally right now?
I don't know. How do you feel? You feel
A little moist.
I don't want to touch if you're moist. No,
like a good bun cake. No.
So nothing bunt cakes.
Yeah, there we go.
No, I feel pretty good. What about
good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's been insanity. 3 days straight right now. Right now, this is Wednesday. We're in November. This is going to be posting in December, which is when the video that we're going to be talking about is being released. But right now it's November, late November, mid-November, and it's Wednesday, middle of the week, and it's been an insane week. A lot of work, a lot of makers, and did some work for Guitar Girl magazine, which is something that Alexx and I both do. Alexx got me that gig. Thank you, Alexx. So
friends in low places.
Not just lyrics, but she also does writing for magazines.
They do, yes.
Yes, she does.
Since you were a child, isn't it?
It is. Thank you for quoting the bio to me.
What's that?
No, I was just saying that she's had the love for writing since she was a young child, and she.
Oh yes, she absolutely has. That's right.
Oh, I think did you think we said Bible, like quoting the Bible?
Batfarm Bible.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I'm going to jump right in here. Ask the first question I ask all of my guests on the show. What sort of art do you make, and what do you think is your role in shaping culture at large?
Mostly paper mache.
Yeah, origami.
No.
What kind of shapes? What kind of pretty shapes? Oh, be real now.
I don't want to be constricted by shapes.
Okay, right.
No, it's music, right? As this project is concerned.
Yes.
What kind of music?
It's we call it darkadelic. So like to quote our bio, and you who also just quoted our bio, it's it's like a combination of Dennis and I's influences. So I'm a huge fan of grunge and rock, classic rock, and then Dennis is really into funk and psychedelic music and stuff. So
like Pink Floyd's a huge influence. Like as a kid, it was like one of the first records I ever got was Pink Floyd The Wall. That I've not to listen to, but I purchased with my own money.
Yeah.
And there's that kind of stuff, that whole psychedelic, just trippy, moody, just what gets me going.
Yeah. And as far as how does it influence culture?
Yeah.
We're very cultured.
Yes, I can see that.
Like yogurt. No, we.
Long hair and you wear black, so.
I mean, that's to be determined. I mean, how you influence is not necessarily what you're out to do. You just kind of do what you do, and how people perceive it in their in their eyes. I mean, art is not something that you can put out there and say, hey, this is what our art is. You know, hopefully it's left up to interpretation for every listener or anyone who sees our videos or anything that we do, and how it affects them through their eyes and their experiences, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you're influencing people, and for the good, I would say.
And it's
That's
like,
culture.
I mean, even the dark stuff that we do, you know, I think everyone kind of needs, especially now, I mean, you kind of need that release to feel like you're not alone. Like,
Yeah. Identify with
content that she writes is a lot of the dark spaces in her head, and the music I put around it is a lot of, you know, the dark things, and you can kind of feel like, sometimes I feel comfort in that. I don't know how people do, but I feel comfort in some of the dark music, you know, and then I go off and watch Disney movies.
Yeah.
He watches a lot of those Lifetime Christmas movies. Like, single-handedly, I think that you're keeping them afloat.
Yeah, I think I am.
There was one I saw, it was a year ago. It was Susan Lucci did a one where she's supposed to be Ebenezer Scrooge, but it was like modern day. It was called Ebby. You seen that one?
Oh my God. No,
No.
I haven't. I can't say that I have.
More the classic of.
How old is Susan Lucci now? Like 100?
I don't know. I have no qualms with her, but this was
No, I
probably,
don't have any qualms with her either.
this was probably 15 years ago that I saw this. So,
Oh,
You're going way back. The Lifetime deep cuts.
yes, I'm just going to say you should probably search that one out. And if we're helping, if we're shaping culture on this show, if anything, we're bringing attention to this movie for people.
Don't ask Dennis about shaping culture when it comes to like Lifetime movies.
well, for me,
I'll
like,
link to it if I can find it on the article here. So be on the lookout, folks.
well, for me, like, you know, I mean, not to get off subject of art and music and everything, but for me, that kind of stuff is like, as far as Christmas goes, I'm not like a big, huge, like Christmas, like gifts and Santa Claus. It's all about that whole feeling that people have, and that, that just kind of people are smiling and happy, and, you know, just that kind of the pageantry of it or whatever is what I really love about it. But when it comes to the gifts, I'm like, I don't like the commercialism of it or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I would just always like the lights, and I always kind of like how everyone's a little happier, and like just kind of just people coming together, and those movies are just kind of fun.
Yeah.
They're just kind of silly. I like the silly, because half the time when we're doing art, our art it's on a deeper side, and then sometimes it's nice to just break away and watch an Adam Sandler movie or something.
Yeah.
That I don't have to think. Because when we're doing the art, it's like, it's really deep. It's dark, not dark, but I mean, it's like, it takes a lot out, you know. We're trying to be our true selves, everything about us, you know.
Well, yeah, and it gives us that outlet, because you see how we are as people. We're really silly, you know, but and we get all of that darkness out because we're making music. You know, otherwise we'd be really miserable people. At least I would. Definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I would break my heart to see you miserable, Alex.
Oh, thank you. How could I be miserable? I have Mickey on my sweater.
It's the evil Willie.
Evil Empire.
The evil
I've got
Empire,
kitties.
for sure. He's got kitties. Yeah, I got the shirt.
But that's true.
I got a
Great shirt in the house.
I got a special bonus here for
Yeah.
Nice. It's,
You're like the president, CFO, and CEO of the fan club.
Nice.
That's right, man. I am a walking billboard.
Our
Batfarm club. Yeah, man. So yeah, cool, man. Yeah, that's good. That's a lot. Yeah, and I agree. Sometimes it helps to know that somebody else out there is going through something. So if you're singing dark songs, you are helping somebody in that way. So absolutely. And you know, everybody that I've had on the show thus far have been musicians. And when I ask the question, that, you know, that's generally, they're like, you know, people, the answers are people hear us and they find comfort, or they identify, or something like that. And, you know, you're building society up when you do this, you know, and it doesn't get, you know, music doesn't get the credit that it deserves sometimes, you know, which is like, you know, your friend Justin Emmerd was just on the show, and he's out advocating for music education. And Alex, you went and spoke to a school. Didn't he get you to speak to a school?
Yeah, with Justin. Yeah, he's so great, because he's a huge advocate for, you know, kids and music in schools in particular.
Yeah.
And there aren't enough people, you know, out there fighting for that.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's great for the development of kids, even if you do want them to learn math or like push those other subjects, it kind of opens them up to a creative look.
Yeah, because to be like super logistical or analytical all the time, it's you need a break from that. Your brain needs a
also expand your mind. I mean, you think Bill Gates or anyone else who's had like a major success. I mean, they had to be creative and think outside the box, and it starts somewhere. They may not be musicians, but they may have been exposed to music as kids or exposed to art or whatever else in school that kind of helps expand their mind to thinking outside the box. I think that's really important, and bring kids joy. I mean,
right, of course. I mean, just think, when you need to escape, what do? You look toward entertainment, you look toward the arts.
Yeah, I was on a call early during. I might have told the story on an earlier show, but I was on a Zoom call with some friends early during this, and there was a fellow on who was a psychiatrist, and he was telling everybody else on the call were musicians and actors and whatnot, and this guy said, there's a lot of folks right now that are at home being quarantined, and they don't have imaginations, and they'd be really lost without you guys, without what you're doing, because we're there to fill that space for them. So yeah, it's important for sure, especially during this time.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, we all need escape.
Yeah, and that's kind of why we wanted to release something before the end of the year this year, just to kind of give everybody something new to look at. A lot of productions right now are on hold, and people aren't releasing a lot of new material because they think, oh, it's not gonna get the push that it normally would. But I think people desperately need new entertainment right now.
Yeah, and things are coming out and coming across differently, and things are getting that push because I just found out today, just before I came on the call with you guys, there's been advertised this Wonder Woman 1984, the second Wonder Woman movie. It's going to be on HBO Christmas Day.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be in whatever theaters are open. It's going to be in theaters, but it's going to be on HBO Christmas Day. And this is like, a studio doing that is, it's unheard of. But those are the kind of new things that are happening. Content like that wouldn't normally be available is becoming available, and people are doing content in new ways. I just you guys know I work in news and transcription, and I was working on an NPR show this afternoon, and it was comedians, and they were talking about all the ways comedy is like boundaries have been pushed and all kinds of new things are happening during this time, because these guys like, I'm doing improv shows and I'm doing stand-up shows, and this guy was like, people in Kuala Lumpur are watching me, and India are watching me. That would never happen. My parents are able to watch me. I don't know how comedians do such a great thing, but my parents are able to watch me for the first time from the state that they're in, so things are changing,
Yeah, well, I did a live stream. It wasn't with Dennis. It was just by myself a few weeks ago. And there were two fans of mine that have followed me for, I don't know, 10 years. And they've never had a chance to see me live because they're in different countries. One of them is Mark Becker, who a great friend of mine and fan in Germany. And he was like, I can't believe I finally got a chance to see you. This is amazing. And it was great to actually talk to people while it was playing or take requests and stuff. And that was amazing.
Oh, that's nice. I did a Zoom class with, it was through the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, which is a local LA business. And our friend Britt hosts a lot of those, Britt Lightning. And, and there was a class with Eric Johnson. And it was so cool. He is so cool, Eric Johnson. Have you guys? I know, Alex. We
both saw him at the Experience Hendrix tour.
Yeah. Have you? I don't know if you guys ever met or talked to him.
I haven't met him.
No,
I had never. I mean, until this time. And he's a chill Texan dude, and he's so nice. And if you met him on the street, you just think, oh, this is a guy. He's a dad. He's got a family. Works in an insurance office or something.
Yeah.
And there was these folks. There was a guy in India, and there was a girl in Hong Kong, and they were just crazy because he's not had a chance to get out to Asia for touring, and they were like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm seeing you. This is amazing." You know, yeah, it was to see that was it was very heartwarming to see that, you know, for sure. But let's talk a little bit about you guys and your artistic journey. Now, before Batfarm, you guys had a lot of stuff. Now, Alexx, we'll talk about you first. You had your AC albums, your Alexx Calise albums. You did a lot of them, and it's still part of your artistic life. But and you've had some pretty big exposures from that. And why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I've been doing the solo thing since I was about 19. You know, I had some bands back home in Florida where I'm from originally, but just like you, my Florida crew. Yeah, 954. No, yeah, I was doing that for a number of years, and I put out a few different records, one of which was a record I did with a friend of mine, Luigi Gonzalez. And we wrote, for all intents and purposes, an all electronic rock album, you know, and I was really pushing a song that I had called Break Me, because I was like, really, you know, I'm a rocker. I really was trying to go after the rock market. And what happened was the soul ballad on that record ended up taking off, which was Cry. And the song the album had been out for a good year or two. And, you know, I was just going about my business, doing my thing. And then, you know, it wasn't taking off the way I'd hoped it had, or hoped it would. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all of these kids, they started like covering my song Cry, and I'm like, why? Or like doing these dances and stuff to it. And I'm like, that's great, that's cool. But what, you know, it was just strange because I didn't know what the origin of like the placement was or anything.
It happened that way.
They don't tell you.
Yeah, they didn't tell what, yeah. So I looked up on YouTube, you know, just my name, and I saw all these tribute videos. And then eventually I found out that it was used in this show called Dance Moms, which was in its first season. And this little girl, she was about 8 years old, named Maddie Ziegler, danced to it. So what happened was my dad's like, you got to jump on this. He's like, she did such a beautiful dance to your song. Why don't you ask her if she wants to be in your music video? So he had a patient, because he's a doctor in Florida. He had a patient that was friendly with the dance teacher on the show. I called her, who then called her for her number, and then I cold called Abby, the teacher on the show, asking her, hey, can Maddie be in my video? And then she said, sure, absolutely. Let's do it in 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay. And the next thing I know,
we scrambled to get a place.
We scrambled to get a location, and the rest is kind of history. And then, you know, especially with her being in that music video, it just took off. I mean, just took off. Yeah, now it has over like 6 million hits, and Maddie Ziegler is a huge star now.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's awesome.
You know, the funny story behind it is that she originally didn't dance to that song.
No.
Because of the licensing, she danced to Over the Rainbow. And that's why her outfit looked like kind of a Dorothy outfit. But in order to, they didn't have enough money the first season, so they replaced it with a song that was the same tempo, which was Alexx's song.
Oh my gosh, really?
So actually, the first time she danced her Alexx song, she didn't know she danced to Alexx song.
Yeah.
But the song became such a phenomenon that it actually came back to the show 3 or 4 different times because she won the championship with it. So they actually had her dance to the song on the show. Like
and
2 or 3 other times,
and then her sister danced to it. And then the dance teacher on the show, because I know them all pretty well at this point, because we've even been on the show together and everything. We've played on it. But the dance teacher was telling me, she's like, every competition that I go to, it never fails. There's at least one kid that dances to your song to this day.
So
it's
influencing culture, man. There you go.
Yes.
But you know, thanks to the way the internet works now, people can just rip the song and she never makes money off it.
So thanks for that, internet.
It's great though. I mean, it's fun. I mean, because when you put out the art, you know, you hope that people are affected by it, and people were. So you know, at the end of the day, that's really kind of what you have to hold on to.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
Dennis, how about you? Now you toured the world with a lot of some notable names and some bands, and why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate. You know, I've played in a ton of bands that over the years, and I've actually been fortunate through those connections to. I got to tour with this guy named Mark Ford, and he was the lead guitar player for the Black Crowes.
Okay.
And he did some solo stuff. I did a lot of touring with him all over the world, all Russia, U.S., Canada. No, not Canada with him. We did Europe, quite a bit of Europe, and then after that gig. Through the same people, I ended up getting a gig with a guy named Gilby Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And Gilby played with a band, little known band. They were a small band, indie band, I think. Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Sorry, people know who they are. But
yeah.
And he was great. I mean, he's great working. All these guys were great to work with. And, you know, I played drums with him, and my first gig with him was New Zealand.
Wow.
He's like, yeah, you know, I need a guy to go to New Zealand because my guy can't do it. So I got the gig. And then he's like, hey, what are you doing next month? You want to go to Canada? I was like, okay. And then after that, we were just touring, just flying to dates, you know. That was a fun little gig. It lasted for a little while. But I mean, to be honest with you, it's fun. Those were great tours, and they were with great people and great musicians. But I don't have a lot of fun being a side guy.
Yeah.
Not because I want the fame. That has nothing to do with it. I'm a drummer. I'll never get fame. But but I love writing music.
I'm going to do it for you, man. I'm going to break you.
I didn't get into it for that. But I do love making music, and I do love collaborating. And I get to do the music I've been in bands where I co-wrote over the years for sure. And a lot of those bands would break up, and that music just went wherever, you know. But it's nice to be in a band that's doing the exact music I want to do. You know, our view of music is very similar. And so because of that, our connection of music just kind of came together to be the perfect storm for me anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
It's been nice.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
Can't complain.
No. Yeah. You guys have both had some pretty cool musical adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And a cool makers connection here. A couple of shows ago, I had Jim Wilson on, and I know Jim through, he plays with Daniel Lanois' band, he plays bass, but he also does his own solo records, which he does with Phil Jones, who's his producer and was former Heartbreaker, Tom Petty's drummer. But he had Mark Ford on his, he plays with Mark Ford a lot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you guys got that in common, so. What's that?
Is Neptune Society? Or what is? Oh, you don't know.
No, you actually dropped for a second the audio, but it was Jim Wilson. It was his solo albums. So under the Jim Wilson moniker, Mark plays on some of his albums, and Phil produces for them.
Mark is such a gifted guitar player. It is really insane. I mean, you check out some of his stuff. I was on one of his records that came out, Mark Ford's Fuzz Machine.
Mm-hmm.
He just put it out on vinyl again, so that's cool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Yeah. But I got to play with different guys over the years, like the keyboard player from The Who, and you know, like but those weren't touring; those were like studio sessions. I've got some experiences, but those are all they're great. I mean, you have to meet these people, get to hear their stories, and just fun. Just I can't tell you how thankful I am for those experiences.
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah. So, but you guys came together now. You're making your music, and you're doing the music you want to do. And I met you guys 5 years ago. Because I met Alexx at Halloween 5 years ago.
I can't believe that's 5 years ago.
I know, you got a cat behind you sneaking out. The Bingo's right over here. There you go. Hey, Bingo.
Bingo.
Hey, Bingo. Bingo moment right here.
She's coming over.
She's coming over.
No, she's not. Okay.
No, never mind. She said, "Screw it."
But, yeah, I met Alexx first. It was at another makers crossover here. Marie Pettit, Marie and Andie of the Key of F were on a few shows ago, and I met Alexx at a Halloween party at Marie's place 5 years ago, and very shortly after she introduced me to Dennis, we all had dinner together at a pizza place. And you guys are talking about what you're doing. And, you know, I was like, I want to help. I want to get involved. And, you know, it just friends, you know. But you had a different, you've been through a few monikers since so at that time you had a different name. You had a SoundCloud. You had recorded a bunch of cool, you had a SoundCloud account with a bunch of cool songs that you had done. So I got to hear everything you guys had done at that point. But, yeah, talk about that. Talk about those early days and what the former name was called, and recording those first songs and so forth.
Where to start with that?
Yeah.
Well, originally we had an idea for we were gonna do some licensing music. We're like, you know, hey, this would be fun. Let's make some licensing music. Let's just collaborate for the first time. Well, it was like well, the very first thing was an actual song that I was doing with another friend. I got hired to do a song for an indie film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was writing the music, and this lead singer of my old band, Dear Damien, a guy named Jared Massey, great singer, great energy, great artist, you know. But we were doing the song together. I was like, Alex, you want to come in and, you know, lend a hand and give some ideas? And then after that, we're like, let's do some more licensing. So Alex had this idea for this kind of dark carnival-y guitar sound, and that was the first collaboration we ever did, which was completely different than what we're doing right now. Yeah. And it's the first song on our first album we did under a different name. And then from there we just started to write more. We thought, well, let's write some more songs, and it kind of turned into a sound. Like we didn't really break up. It was just, I mean, the songs were different, but they kind of had a thing, and we're like, let's make this a band.
Yeah.
So the original band's name was
Sound of Cancer, because we're both Cancer. Yeah, like we're within, our birthdays are within a few days of each other, but the unfortunate part about that is I guess people didn't really get it. No, you know, they like either your
astrological signs, you're both Cancer.
Yes.
The sound of your astrological sign Cancer is what you meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not like we advocate for cancer or anything.
Well, if you look up Sound of Cancer, there's actually a sound that you can find. It's like YouTube, like a sound. But I mean, people think, are they a death metal band? Or are they? We're completely the opposite of a death metal band. So, and the first record, you know, had its thing, and yeah. So then we're like, well, why don't we change it to maybe the acronym? You know, we'll do, you know, SOC.
Then there was like a band called Soldiers of Christ.
a rap artist.
Yeah.
So
rap artist, okay.
Yeah, and so Soldiers of Christ, and I did a search, I didn't find it anywhere, but after we put our album up under SOC, we found that when I searched for it, I kept finding this other band, you know.
Oh, okay.
So we're like, you know what, this isn't working. And we were already playing live shows under that name. I think our first show was SOC.
Yeah.
I was there for your first show at the Viper Room, and I didn't know you had changed it. I saw on the sign, the Viper Room, it said SOC, and I didn't know that you had changed it. And I remember the announcer said, "Ladies and gentlemen, suck." And then like there's like a little bit of silence because we were all waiting for them to say the full name. And then, oh, okay, we better start clapping. And and Alice is like, so you said something like, hesitate much or something. And I had to explain later, like, we didn't understand that the name had changed. We were waiting for them to say the full name before we clapped. So that's what that was all about.
Yeah, and then like I don't know if we didn't really like the sound of like sock. Like,
yeah, we didn't. I mean, it was
funny. Sock. They didn't say SOC.
We made jokes about it and stuff, but I mean, at the end of the day, it just really didn't. It wasn't us, you know. And so we were joking because a friend of mine that I've known is Eric Klein, a great producer, amazing producer and songwriter. He's got a band called Zero Calvin, and he's always been throwing around this band name. He's like, oh, Batfarm. I always want to do this band called Batfarm, you know, and but we never did it. And then finally Alex is like, yeah, I wish we could use the name Batfarm. And I was like,
let's ask him.
And he's like, if you guys want to use it, I'd be honored, because he was a big fan of our music. So
oh, nice.
Like,
that's really sweet.
It's very us. I mean, Batfarm is us because it's just the name. It's like, it's dark and fun, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a combination of the two, and
look at the logo here.
Fernando Campbell.
His name is Fernando von Candlestick.
There you go.
All of our characters have names. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so we're like, this is us. This is perfect. And then immediately we just started changing everything and marketing it over. But a lot of people don't know that we had the band Sound of Cancer before, so they have no idea we have a whole record worth of music. They hear some of it live. We play a lot of it, you know, live.
Yeah. Well, I remember Justin Emmerd, you know, from 11 to 38 said something to us like after we played, because he hadn't seen us play live in a number of years. And he's like, oh, I love this stuff so much better than, or so much more than Sound of Cancer. And I'm like, dude, it's the same material. That's okay.
But in his defense, you know, the first record we put together kind of in the living room and in an office.
Yeah.
And we were still developing the sound. So, you know, some of the stuff that we did, we cut corners and it didn't quite have the live feel that we would have liked. And because we never performed them live. I mean, it took how many years?
Many years.
6 years before the band ever played a live show.
Yeah.
So the interpretation and the energy of those songs changed when we finally got them to a live, you know. So some of the songs that we really love off that first record, we're probably going to re-record at some point.
Yeah.
And kind of get that energy that it deserved, you know.
Yeah, because I really like some of those songs, and I like hearing them when you guys play live. So I hope they resurface.
They will. We're going to put a little bit on each one.
Yeah. So at some point that first record can kind of come out as a you know, I don't know, you know, maybe the B-side record or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it'd be nice to release some of those songs. I mean, I've listened back and I go, oh, wow, that was better than I remember. You know.
Yeah.
The songs still hold. You know, we still love a lot of it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
your track "Love," that's my favorite one from the first.
Oh, thank you. That's one of my favorite ones too.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys still play that one live, and I always love hearing it. So.
Yeah, definitely. So when you were asking about our early phases, were you fishing for more information than about the bands? Into our early relationship?
Yeah.
I was gonna skirt all that.
You just answered it.
I gotta drink my water. Hold on.
Let me do a spit take.
Yeah.
Right.
No. I was just sticking to the art. So.
Okay.
Yeah, well, just because Dennis always tells me, like, whenever we go out, he's just like, just pretend you're like my sister or like my cousin or something. Because we're not together. We used to be, like, you know.
How we met was through music.
Yeah.
And then we did date for
like 5.5 years.
5.5 years.
Then I'm like, the hell with you.
Yeah.
No.
So Sound of Cancer was born during those years. And so one of the big reasons we never played live or ever really did much more than the first record for a long time was because we did break up and we moved separate ways. And we didn't even talk for maybe about a year. About a year, which is what we needed. I mean, because, you know, when you're changing, you don't want that gray area. It was great because we both got to develop our lives without each other. Mm-hmm. And move on and, you know, realize that we were at our best when we were friends and when we were creating music, you know, and that's why we're best friends today, you know. Yeah. The romantic side wasn't really what brought us together and wasn't what kept us together, and that's why we're great friends, you know. That's why people confuse us for being together all the time still, because we have such a bond from all the years that we've been best friends. Yeah. That when people see us out together, like, are they together? Yeah, because like
we're like finishing each other's sentences or like just communicating by sound.
Yeah,
you know, like just sounds, you know.
Porpoise-like sounds and whatnot.
Yeah. I'm like, man, he's just like, oh, so you know, like, what are you hungry for? Where do you want to eat? Like, you know.
Yeah, my wife and I make porpoise-like sounds all the time. So.
Yeah.
No, that's very special though that you guys were able. You're like Lindsey Buckingham and the girl from Fleetwood.
Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm always like, whenever we go somewhere, like, isn't your boyfriend gonna come so that people don't confuse us anymore? Nice to meet somebody. No.
Oh goodness.
So when we started hanging out together again, that's when we decided, let's make this band live. And the logistics of that took a little bit of time for us to figure out how to do it because we had so much instrumentation and we just didn't want to put a big giant band together because the chemistry we have, sometimes you start adding members, it loses some of that. I mean, not to say that a band can't come together and have a chemistry and create a sound. And I'm all about that. I love that. For years, I was in bands together with friends. But this band has a special kind of thing that's going on, and we didn't want to compromise by dragging people in that didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Or to entertain them, just to make them feel a part of something, you know.
Yeah.
Which they deserve. Anyone who came in would deserve that, but we're like, let's keep it two pieces.
Yeah.
You're not having to deal with other personalities, probably, right?
Yeah. And it's hard to get everybody together to rehearse and all that stuff too.
Yeah, but it's and part of that is, you know, I dig the chemistry that the project has, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have fun on stage. It's kind of a fun, people kind of like the idea of two people on stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you guys are great live, and I've seen you probably more than anybody.
You probably have.
Pretty soon you have to buy a VW bus and get your tie-dye Batfarm shirt.
Yeah, right.
Start selling jewelry out front of the Viper Room or something.
About being like the fish fan, but with Batfarm.
Right.
Welcome to the shower in this project.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But so now you guys, this is, for the moment I met you, you were doing stuff. You had that first album, but you were looking ahead to other things. And then it all kind of culminated last year in the release of In the Belfry, right? And so,
yeah.
So that was a really special moment to see you guys get that first record out, because I had been watching you guys work on getting that out forever. So, talk about the album and the process of it. And, yeah.
It was kind of a long process getting that out.
Yeah, it was like, because it was because when we first started making music together again, it was part of it was going live with some of the stuff. And then also we thought, well, let's write some covers first to kind of see if we can collaborate together and not put too much energy into it. So we did a couple fun covers,
Mm-hmm.
6 Underground, and we did the song Lullaby by the
Cure.
Mm-hmm. So when we started pulling it together again, we were trying to find our sound again, just kind of what's the next step for us? What are we doing, And so that was part of the process, was trying to develop this, bring it together into a studio again, And so we started off by doing it up in San Jose, which was really hard. I mean, I love who we worked with. My friend Jerry, amazing engineer and producer, but it was hard to coordinate.
Yeah.
Because he had to make a living too. So he'd be like sometimes doing a session till 6 a.m, and then we'd show up driving all the way up there and he'd be exhausted, and then we only have 2 days with him, or it was just tough. It was hard to coordinate it. So we, through friends, was it Dan?
Yeah, through Dan Hegarty had been telling me for years, he's like, you need to work with Charlie Waymire. And I know both of them because I did some interviews with them, because they had a podcast show a podcast called The Music Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew Charlie and I loved him, and I liked his stuff a lot, and I kept telling Dennis, I'm like, we should probably just do this locally, because Dan keeps mentioning him.
Yeah.
And I've heard his productions and I really like them. So finally we met with Charlie and we decided we were going to go with him for the EP, and we got it done fairly quickly, considering.
Yeah, it was because we were going through a lot of growing pains in personal lives and
Mm-hmm.
trying to so that was played a part of some of it. She was going through, job changes, relationship changes,
Mm-hmm.
company changes. So, trying to keep focused on the record, it took a while, and when you're going into the studio and you're not really making money as an artist, sometimes it's hard to come up with the money. So it took time to, put the money together, to put it together, so
it is. Yeah.
So it took a while. It took a little longer than we thought, but we grew a lot. We learned a lot through that process. I know Charlie, developed a lot of things over the time. Like the first thing he did for us was he remixed a song, Get Out.
Yeah.
And then we ended up re-recording everything again. Yeah. He mixed it again. And then, at the end of the record, he remixed it.
Yeah.
So 3 mixes to that song, because he got better at his mixing and had a better clue of who we were, because we're probably the weirdest band that he's had come in there. I'm not the weirdest. We have a lot of stuff that we build, a lot of parts, a lot of orchestration and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's to get what we're trying to do it's not the normal band, we're not a metal band, we're not an industrial band, we're not any of these things. There's a lot of harmonies. How do you mix that? That's tough.
Yeah. And then more than anything out of that experience, we got a really great friend out of it with Charlie. And he's been so amazing in terms of not only, supporting us as artists, but, anytime we have any kind of technical questions, just like, oh, call Charlie, he'll know how to do it. And he spent I don't know how many hours, hundreds of hours probably helping us with, live streaming or recording, showing Dennis how to, do a proper mic setup, stuff like that. He's been amazing in that regard.
So we made definitely one of my better friends, best friends. And I know Alex's too. And, we try to give back when we can. So I missed that about where I you know, in some places I used to live, we're, you know, having a community.
Mhm.
And it's nice to, you know, developing a community of people that, you know, part of the family where you just kind of, when someone has something to give, they can give, and, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's why I like keeping you guys around.
Aw. Yeah, and then it's great because like even with Charlie, then Andie ended up going to him from the Key of F, and it's just like one big family. And that's what, you know, like what you were saying, like Dennis and I have been talking about this for years, having a collective of artists that just support each other, because we can't always do it or go it alone. It gets very expensive, and you know, it's just nice when you have other people that you love and trust around you that are they're able to help you, you know, achieve your vision.
Which is funny because one of the first projects we produced together was
Andie. It was the Key of that.
Their first single was we produced for them.
Yeah. Lies.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
So
it was fun.
Yeah, cool. So now you guys are also producing videos, and so you produced one last year, right? Was it last year? Yeah, I guess it had to be last year. This year's barely existed. But so you did a video for Get Out, and that's available everywhere. And I just wanted to throw in, I almost had the distinction of being on the track singing harmonies, but
you were really sick, I remember.
On the phone, you're like, hey, you want to come to the studio? I was like, and I loved that song. I'd heard you guys play it live, and then you guys had played some of the early versions of it for me, and I absolutely loved the song. And I was just like, I wanted to do it so bad. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear the song, I'm like, oh, I lost my place in history.
Is that she had another friend come in and sing, and he's, you know, actually
Rob who you interviewed.
Rob was on the show right before he's going to be in the episode previous to this one, sir.
The thing was, is his voice, he's a good singer and he's great with what he does. The problem was they didn't really blend really well. So I ended up actually sing that. So I sang on Get Out. I sing all the backups on Get Out. I think we kept a couple things of Rob.
We did keep a couple things of Rob.
But for mostly, and then actually Jerry, my friend up from North, his couple of his harmonies from the original stayed. But
it's like the Village Pump.
I know the Village Pump. So there's like 3 guy voices backing her up, and I get it's the only song I sing on the whole record.
He's actually got a good voice too.
I have never heard Dennis sing.
I'll break it down.
I was gonna say, you know,
I have some solo stuff that I've done. I just never released it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should.
So one of these days. I mean, the song Confusion, I have an original version of I did years ago that I sang on acoustic version of that song.
Oh, okay. Well, we have that to look forward to at some point.
Someday.
Will we see you on stage playing the drums with the mic and singing?
Oh my God!
Doing the Def Leppard thing.
Only when we do our dance moves that I'll put that one on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do our coordination dance stuff.
Cool. So the video for Get Out is available online, and everybody should go check that out. I'll link to that if you're watching this on my website, I will link to that on the page here. But now to the main event, the new thing, and as of the posting of this show, it is available. Tell us about the new video.
Okay, well, this one was a lot of fun for us to do. I had conceptualized this for actually a few years back, I think now. I had this vision of, I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what's happening in the video, but I just had, you know, this vision for it to be really dark, because the song by nature is that way. The song is called Snake, and it's about, you know, someone who, not naming names, in my life, who was, you know, they were a snake. You know, and this song is about.
It's not Brenda.
What? Oh my God, no.
No. All right, I'm just making sure.
No.
I'm kidding. I know who it is, and it's not anybody I've ever actually met. So.
Yeah, you're lucky, but no, but this song is about, you know, kind of taking your power back, you know, and not letting anyone railroad you. So that's what this song is kind of about, and you'll see it. Actually, Andie is acting in the video. Andie from the Key of F did a fantastic job. Yes. Fantastic actress.
You won't recognize her in it, but
you won't.
She is in it.
Yeah, I did. And when Andie was on the show, she and I talked about this. We did a musical dinner theater together for a long time in Central Florida, so I have seen her perform, and I know she is great. But I look forward to seeing her in the video. I have a little trouble with that particular animal. So, and then like, I don't even like to type the word because then it ends up, they end up all over my Instagram, you know?
Oh, really?
I had that happen, like where like I had like 17 like things on my Instagram feed, and it's all like these things devouring each other and stuff. I actually wrote Instagram and said, will you please stop this? I may have accidentally typed that word, but I have never even liked a picture that has that thing in it. I might not like every post that you say that word in just because of that. I will promote it. I will post it. I will type the word like on this site here. So I will say, you know, maybe endure a little bit of having to see some of that stuff turn up in ads.
Well, what do you think about that? You know, we had that cute snake that I drew for the
yeah,
the
he was cute. He was friendly.
he's a cute one. Yes, I did. He's a friendly one. So long as they're friendly.
A snake with a hat.
They can be like Casper, the friendly ghost. Those,
yeah.
you know, there can be those ones. So,
yeah.
But
my cartoon style is that of a fourth grader,
5-year-old.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's something fun you guys do in a lot of your promos. Dennis, you do a lot of this kind of Monty Python style, almost like you do some stop motion and animation and stuff like that, and you do a lot of really creative production. That's a lot of fun.
Fun. I mean, that's the thing that we've kind of loved. That's why we were excited to do this video, was because, you know, we've really been getting into, you know, during this quarantine, since we can't really go play shows. And, you know, we entertain the idea of starting to do live shows, you know, on the internet, and we still might do some, but it just wasn't really jumping out at us at the time. So we started kind of digging in. She started doing some more photography. We started learning more about lighting, and we're like, you know what, we've got the facilities, we got the camera, we got the lighting. We should be, you know, let's get back into making a video.
Yeah.
You know? And it was fun because, you know, we had the space again, finally had the space. We had all the lighting. We had everything we needed to just let go and just be creative and not worry about what we don't have and just be just in it, you know.
Yeah.
And she's great at editing.
Thank you.
And she's been doing, you know, some of the color correction along with her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my boyfriend Ken, who, you know, like it's weird saying, oh my, yeah.
What's his name?
For the sake of the audience, you can say
his name is Ken Gust, and he used to own a visual effects company, and he's a colorist. So yeah, he's been so great, you know, in terms of helping me learn how to.
And a lot of things.
Yeah,
he's a smart guy. So
yes.
it's nice to bounce ideas off of him.
Yeah,
you know, someone who's been in the industry, and you know, we have all these creative ideas, but sometimes facilitating them, we don't always know the technical side of that. So
yeah, he's great with that, or he's even helped us like set up our shots and stuff, or lighting. Yeah. You know, so it's nice to have you know, another set of eyes.
Yeah, you know, because we're so wrapped. You know, sometimes you get so close to your thing that it's nice to have someone else. I go, yeah, that works, but you know, maybe a little brighter, or maybe pull back a little.
He colored the Get Out video.
He did that. He did that himself. Like all.
It looked great. I mean, it looked broadcast quality. He did a wonderful job. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what he had to start with, I mean, that you have to consider that, because we really weren't. We didn't know lighting very well then.
Yeah.
I mean, we're way better now, but then what he had to work with is what he brought it to was. We're very impressed. Yeah. So, I mean, now, you know, what we have, this new video, we're excited because it's got a lot of mood, and we shot it in the sense that we didn't want to have to do as much color correction. Like we try to shoot it as much into the cameras that we could. I mean, of course, there's slight adjustments here and there.
But it looks like, not to toot my own or our own horn, but it looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous.
So, I'm excited about the energy because it's, I think the story comes across, and I think the lyrical, I mean, it's still left up to interpretation. What we don't want to do is spell things out to people, you know, because everyone kind of looks through music or art through their own goggles, and that comes from their own personal life experiences. So that's kind of why you won't recognize Andie, is because we really didn't, for the concept of it, we didn't want to put any faces to it, like any kind of more, everything to be kind of more ideas, where someone can kind of put their own experience on it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it's. I remember years ago reading just the liner notes of one of Seal's albums, and I'm a big fan of him. But I was reading, and he's like, yeah, I don't ever print the lyrics in my sleeves because I like it when people tell me what they think I'm saying, you know, and they thought I was saying some other thing and it affected their lives in a nice way. And I don't want to disillusion them of that, you know? So that was like his take on that. But yeah, there's a certain point where you want to be a little ambiguous and let people read into it, and that they can read their own lives into it, you know?
I mean, yeah, and life isn't that simple to wrap up in a bow anyway. So, you know, it's like even emotions, like you may feel something, but you're not quite sure how to express it. So, you know, sometimes expressing, I would say colors in a sense, because, you know, just express, like she does that with words. Like she just kind of paints a picture without ever tell you exactly what happened. Like she's like, I didn't go to the store and I got some peanuts. And
we had a discussion about this the other day, that songwriting
woke up with me by saying blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
I think certain famous songwriters names came up in that, but yeah, that was there's that journal style songwriting, and that was kind of a thing in the 90s.
I used to see a lot of that, but I mean, I used to see a lot of that in coffee shops and stuff. You see a lot of, you know, early like, songwriters where there's like 35 verses. It's like American Pie is short, and you know, it's like they're just like, it's like, just get to the chorus.
Yeah.
Please, for God's sake.
Yeah, like, there were some people that like actually did a really good job with that, like Jewel, for example. Like I think that it worked.
Yeah.
You know, like Johnny Cash and people like that who can tell a story, but they're telling a story. But I mean, it's there's a different thing, you know, that I'm trying to get at, you know.
Yeah, well, Johnny Cash has this, like, you know, grit and life experience that comes along with a boy named Stu, you know. So when he can just tell a straight up story, but he's got all this, you know, interesting
and he's
experience that comes with it. So yeah,
he was even more of a storyteller, anyways, you know. In some ways,
yeah, he's a great storyteller.
You know, more than just like an artist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So what was it? What ingredients do you think Jewel had that worked? That the journalistic type writing worked with her?
She actually wrote good songs.
Yeah.
Like the core, melodically speaking.
Yeah.
You know, I liked her song structure. It seemed to work, and it was a little believable. I don't know.
That it just kind of, if you can pull people through it, you know, because sometimes when people are trying to write, you know, literally and you know, like in the storytelling sense, they don't get that you have to break it up and pull people through it with a good melody and stuff. They just keep going. It's like a run-on sentence where there's no periods or commas.
Yeah, because she did it right, because, like, you know, at the end of the day, there was some kind of a resolution, you know, and just there was just something about her like that. She didn't bother me out of like all of those artists that came out around then. Like she was a decent songwriter.
Yeah, and sometimes you can tell a story in a way that compel people and bring them in. Sometimes you tell a story where you just like, get on with it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's important, especially in short form, is just having meaning. And as that was like, you know, Edgar Allan Poe said, you know, with a short story, it just has to have an overall emotional effect.
Yes.
Meaning, you know?
Yeah.
Which is where most people don't have that, but some people did, and that's what sold them, you know?
Or like even Alanis Morissette's later work, like it's very amorphous, it's very free form, but because she has that grit and that fire, I guess, like you don't mind as much.
Yeah.
She's being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is just being honest with yourself and being your true self to the people. I mean, I know that we do best when we let go of our inhibitions and just be who we are. And you'll see that in our videos and our stuff that we do.
Yeah, we just don't care.
When we stopped caring, not in the sense like, you know, screw the world, but in the sense that we don't care if
just a vanity or ego, right?
Who we are. Yeah, when you let go of your ego and you let go of what you think you should be and who you think you should present.
Yeah.
At that point is when we found people more interested in what we were doing, because we were just being our true selves.
Yeah, that's
the thing about an artist, is just being a true self all the time.
Yeah, it's so interesting, because I was actually captioning a lecture earlier today in my other life, my other job, and the speaker said something. It was like a motivational type of thing on how to cope during quarantine, and the speaker said, you know, having a case of shoulds. You know, if you're doing something, you know, if you're motivated to do a project or something out of shoulds, you're doing something that somebody else wants you to do, or you're trying to be like somebody else, you know, talking about proper motivations. I really feel like I should be doing this. You know, that's not always pure. It doesn't always come from a pure place, you know. Sometimes you see your friend doing something and being successful, like, oh, I should do that. But that might not be the thing for you.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we weren't too upset that we took, I wouldn't say a break, but we didn't like go full steam ahead and where we thought we should be. We took a step back. Sometimes you have to take a step back and take a look at the broad picture.
Yeah, and we've just always like not spun our wheels, because that's not the right word necessarily, but we've just constant, like, at least for both of us, like our entire lives, that's just always what we've done. And it was kind of nice to take a step back for a minute. Yeah. And, you know, I remember like the first like week or two of quarantine, I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like now I'm over it at this point. But yeah, it was.
But we did explore new things. Like we started getting more, like I said, we started getting more into lighting, more into, you know, photography, all these different other things that I think will come together and like will come together for everything for us, you know, when we start going forward again. But sometimes you can be a dog chasing his tail and you have to stop to realize that you're chasing your tail and not a car or something, you know. You're like, wait a minute, that was my tail. I've been going in circles.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot as artists, because you just don't know. You're like, oh, I just got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this. And at the end of the day, you're like, where did I go? You know?
Yeah.
And so get back to what started us and motivated us in the first place. Get back to the love of art, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes you got to go to the place where you are productive, not you feel like you should be productive.
Exactly. It's 100%.
Yeah. And, you know, I've gone through hills and valleys of that during this whole thing, during this whole quarantine, you know. You know, I did really well at the beginning where I wrote a novel, finished that, and that was great.
That all you did? No. I'm just kidding. I think it's amazing.
What did you say?
I said that's all you did, and I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
To write a novel at all is amazing. Yeah. The fact that you wrote it at the beginning of the quarantine is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. But then, like, since then, like being productive has been very difficult. But now I'm doing this, and like, you know, and like my wife Brenda, for the audience doesn't know, but Brenda's my wife. She, you know, she's like, what you're doing, this is important. This is the thing right now. You know, don't discount this. You know, I'm like, I'm just talking to famous people. You know.
Just talking to famous people.
You know, but.
And like you said, I mean, that's great. I mean, if it's what's inspiring you and what's making you happy, that's the path right now, you know?
Yeah, talking to you guys is making me really happy.
I mean, a lot of the great things that have happened in my career have been things I never thought I would do. Not that I avoided them, I just didn't conceive of them. And then all of a sudden I was doing it and I was like, oh my God, I never thought I'd be doing this.
Yeah.
That's all. You know?
Well, yeah, it's just when you're out there giving in the creative way, you know, things come your way. You know, people that you didn't expect to meet will come your way because you're doing something that attracts attention, you know?
Yeah. So. Or like even during this time, you know, Rob, who you interviewed recently, him and I, we've collaborated for the past few years and then we kind of stopped. But what's been kind of nice about the quarantine is that we've been doing some remote sessions now, like once a week or something. So we weren't always able to meet because, you know, it's kind of like I have to schlep all the way over to like Burbank. And you know, it's hard to do that with everybody's schedule, but you know, if you do it remotely, it's a lot easier for everybody involved.
Yeah, very cool. And yeah, that's part of the humor of living in Los Angeles. Is Burbank is probably 5 miles.
It's not far,
but the traffic presents an issue.
Yeah,
sure.
It's funny. I grew up in the Midwest, and that's not the same thing.
No.
5 miles is no big deal, or 10 miles or 20, but here, you know, a mile could take you an hour.
Yeah, that's and you know, like I love it. I'll make the effort to do that kind of stuff for people I love and the things that I want to do. But it's, you know, it gets to be tough when you're trying to do that and work and pursue all of your other passions. So
yeah, and everybody around here, everybody's doing so many different gigs. Everybody's so pulled in directions, you know, just trying to just trying to live or trying to produce something, you know?
Yeah, like Dennis and I were in a band together, and the past few months, like we've just been missing each other. You know, we haven't seen very much of each other. I was just talking to him today about that, and I'm like, man, I miss you, man. we don't, and we live 5 minutes away from each other, not even.
Oh, yeah. And then who brought you together today?
Hey.
Yay!
I'm a uniter. So
Yeah.
that's the whole reason I did this show, was just to get you guys back together into a room and talking again.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. All right, well, I think we can wrap it up, but I'm gonna leave you guys with a little challenge that I give to everybody at the end of the show. You know, since you guys are makers, I want to challenge you in the next few days. If you have a chance to make a unique, special, creative moment, I'd love it if you share it with me. It could be a photograph, a small bit of audio or video. If you happen upon anything neat and new you want to share, send it to me, and I'll post it for my audience as a special bonus makers moment. And I know we got holidays coming up and stuff like that, so you know you might be busy. But if you take a cool photograph or something like that and you want to send it over, I'll post
it. I pooped today.
What if I, you know, hand puppets, paper bag hand puppets?
Like,
well, that it's creative art right there. So absolutely.
Well, we even have a theme song for Bats and Crafts, and we were going to do a series of it, but we haven't got around to it yet. But we we have a song for Bats and Crafts.
Yeah, we do.
We have themes for everything, so we have to get it out.
We like make popsicle sticks and like create like
oh
yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Horrible things.
Yeah.
We'd like to bring in celebrities to do really ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, like make macaroni art with like, I don't know, like Art Garfunkel.
Alex's favorite acts that she had.
Yeah.
So.
Love Art Garfunkel.
Art Garfunkel. You might be able to get.
We'll take you on. We'll take that challenge.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to be calling arts people right now, but
art with art.
It could be a thing. Well, Batfarm, Alexx, Dennis, you guys, you're among my favorite people of all time.
Aww.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, buddy.
Bless you guys. You know, happy holidays coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all that. And I know I'll be seeing you guys again before too long, but you guys take care, okay? Stay healthy.
You too.
All right.
See you later. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.